Hello everyone, today I will present about implication of feedback and praise on mindset by Chandan Suman. This article talks about how feedback and praise from teachers can shape the way students think and learn. First, the article explains that feedback really matters. Good feedback can help students stay motivated and do better in their studies. It also helps them face challenges instead of avoiding them. Second, the article shows that the type of praise we give is important. When teachers praise students for their effort and hard work, it helps build a growth mindset. Students believe they can improve. But if we only praise them for being smart, it can lead to a fixed mindset. They might be afraid to try harder tasks. Third, it suggests that teachers should focus on the process, like effort, strategies, and progress, not just results. Now for the critics, first, the article doesn't include any new research or data. It's just talk about what other researchers have already found, so we don't get anything new or original from the author. Second, even though the article mentioned a lot of studies, it doesn't go deep into the details. For example, it doesn't explain situations where results were different or didn't fully support the growth mindset. This makes the discussion feel a bit shallow. Third, the article doesn't talk about cultural differences. In some countries, students may react to feedback in different ways, depending on their background or tradition. But this article mostly gives general advice without thinking about those differences. And finally, it would be better if the article include real classroom example. This will help teachers see how to use the tips in real life, not just in theory. So overall, while the article gives good points, it also missed a few important things that could make it stronger. Finally, my overall opinion. This article is useful and gives good advice for teachers. It reminds us that praising effort and giving helpful feedback really makes a difference. But it could be even better with real classroom stories or case studies. That's all from me.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Natasha and I will talk about my article research, which is behavioral specific praise, empowering teacher and family to support student in various learning contexts. So, for the summary article, based on the article, the author defined behavioral specific praise as a form of positive reinforcement that recognizes and reinforces good behavior by specifically describing what the student has done right. So, this approach can optimize social, academic, behavioral proficiency and can be applied to regular face-to-face teaching, distant learning, and in the home. For example, the article demonstrates how the teacher and family can utilize behavior-specific praise to create caring climax and form positive relationship. So, next, the article encourages collaborative effort by teacher and family to further the overall development of children, pointing out behavioral specific praise ability in every situation. Next, I will talk about the critique. Firstly, the article mentioned about the importance of linguistical concepts briefly, but does not dive into the way which teacher and family can adapt behavioral specific praise to meet cultural different or non-English speaker. Absence of discussion limits the usability of the article is more diverse school. The article also does not discuss potential challenges and limitations of applying behavior-specific praise. The author adds that praise must be individualized, but do not provide sufficient insights into how student preference will be determined, or how one address a situation when student receives any form of praise. Last, I will talk about overall opinion. The article encourages continued learning and creation of methods to help make sure that students are given the best support for their involvement and success. Through step-by-step illustration and easily accessed material, the article positions behavior-specific praise as a useful instrument for enabling educators, parents, and the student themselves to addressing gaps in learning environments while contributing to the holistic development of children and adolescents.
Hello, hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Farhan Haris Fatimah Harizan. I want to continue the presentation. The article actually is from the teaching practice. The title is How Praise and Feedback Impact Student Outcome. Okay, for the summary, I choose a two-part only. The first one is the teacher feedback is critical for the student success, and the second one is the institutional content matters significantly in the feedback adjustment. For the point first, effective teacher feedback is constant for education directly impact student motivation, judgment, and academic achievement. It's a powerful tool that shape how students can approach their learning and academic performance. The second one is the student highlight that the university environment significantly influence how students interact with the feedback they get, and student is precision key. University show great judgment, suggesting intentional norm for fostering self-regulation and academic in the play with the rules. So that's one for the summary. Next one is the critic. For the critic, choose from the methodological. That one, methodological weakness, limit generalization and deep. For that point, the first one is the cross-sectional design, hidden causality. The student from the summary, the student cross-sectional natural proven establish a clear cause and effect relationship between teacher feedback and the student outcome. Longitudinal student necessary to track trend over the time and infer causality. The second one, still in the methodological critique, restrict sample effect accessibility. Focusing on the second student from the only two students from the China university is a limit the ability to generalize finding to diverse student population, institution, and the global education context for the border sample are needed. And last but not least is self-reported data introduce potential bias. Reliance slowly unlock student perception of the feedback practice may can learn to increase and incorporating objective measure like the classroom or perception will enhance the validity of the finding. So that one is for the critical based on the methodological. So the last one is the overall opinion from the article. Uh, for the overall opinion, facilitative feedback and the teacher training are key for the recommendation. So from the article summary, the student emphasize the importance of facilitative feedback in the fostering self-regulated to learn and can recommend the intensive feedback, literacy training to teach education program to equip educator with effective feedback and strategy. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Today I'm going to talk about Article 4 is effort praise improve resilience for the college student with a high fear of failure. For the summary, there's a praise for effort can help the college student, especially for those who have anxiety about their making mistake. It's illustrated by their own aversion to failure and because we're stopped getting the kind of feedback in the classroom at this stage. But we can more is allowed to become part of our work productions. The learner who earn effort based on their praise were tough and more optimization and more inclined to tackle academic trials. Praising a student as a learner, for examples, can help develop as a growth mindset in the students and also the communications. That process of the earn is more important than the result. The critique about this article is one of the great strengths of the study is clearly control experimental design. It allows researchers to compare impact different type of praise has on related to findings to motivational theory and make it applicable to use the educator. But the study is limited by the fact that it's only involved the college student for the cultured content, make it hard to general to the result. While and also it also suffer from a lack of long-term follow-up, is find out if the benefit is based on praise lasts. But the opinion based on this article from me is this study is interesting to me since it's a reinforced idea that we should praise effort, not just into the ability. It's provide the teacher with a tangled approach to assist the student with a fear of the failure, supporting them to build a confidence and also remind to motivated. It also can be a better, more diverse group of the students and also it an exploitations of the long-term effect. I think in general there is a practical implication that result can be at least can be useful tips for students and resilience and also learning motivations. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and very good evening. So my name is Fatima Maira and I will talk about my article on the research which is the impact of words, praise and criticism on students in high school. So I will explain about summary article which is feedback primarily consisted of praise achieve a 15% increase in academic performance which is boost engagement. In contrast, students in environments dominated by criticism show a decline in the self-esteem. I have found that the research used 120 students for her research which is divided has two classes which is class 1 and class 2. So both of the classes have the same activities. With what make it difference, which is class 1 has filled with the good praising or encouragement, and meanwhile the class 2 have received the criticism, bad negative review. So it shows that how it affected the self-esteem of the students in both classes. So in critiques, I will explain about critiques, which is a quantitative and qualitative approaches add credibility through a complex viewpoint, which is the researcher used quantitative, which is she used 120 students from 5 different Uzbekistan university in Uzbekistan as well. So for the qualitative approaches, she used semi-structured interviews and observation for both classes, which is she has divided into two classes, right? So class 1 and class 2. So and it is also the critics it also has. It offers practical benefits to teachers in addition to its theoretical advantages. So if teachers or lecturers implement more enhancement of using praises in the class, so the norms of praising for the students it will increase and also it will boost self-esteem of the student. It is not a easy task. It's not an easy task to it is easy task to compliment as well as it doesn't take any energy to compliment, and also it adds up all the energy and good self-esteem for the students. So there is one limitation which is limited cultural focus, which is the researcher has focused on the Uzbekistan, which is it has a limited conclusion for the studies. So we have an overall opinion which is it shows a significant advancement in educational psychology, particularly in the area of the feedback techniques in higher education. So it shows like more and we need to have more knowledge and vocalize on how mental health students are important in the society, because in this society, in this era, we have seen the generation that more exposure of the technology has more developed on the mental health, which is more, there is no more taboo about mental health. So in which if mental health is normalized or mental health is important in our society, so it will increase the more knowledge of mental health and more it will impact the praising as well. So the praising, if we normalize right now, it will affect the next generation improvement of development of in humanity. So, and also it supports the idea that learners desire not only validation, it's also practical methods to enhance their comprehension and ability. So which means the praising is not only validation, it's also an effort to do something that will make it into a journey. So which is effort doesn't lie about the result.
Okay, then I will talk about the discussion of the all 5 articles from this. Okay, all the 5 articles remain here is how to praise feedback is really powerful tools. For the student teacher, is help them learn. It's more general, rewarding the student. Okay, I'm going to present about the discussions. Okay, from these articles, all 5 articles remain as how praise and feedback can be real powerful tool for students. Teacher in help their learn and like more generally rewarding student in their effort and training instead of their intelligent promoting to grow their mindset that is more likely to motivate the student to confront the challenge. This is particularly crucial for the student with a fear and failure in Article 4. Behavior-specific praise, as described in Article 2, support the teachers and family in their work, providing this more meaningful guidance for the students. Yet there is a little article of how modify the praise when they learn from the other culture or language background, while the powerful personalized praise mentioned that are missing actionable tips in how to do this. It's most article in Article 1 and 3. For example, they report frustration without talking about real challenge in the classroom. Like Article 3 also find that school environment influences student reaction to the feedback, in particular high performance schools. And also in Article 5, backs of the nation of the positive word is a method. The student who have received praise get better academical, while the student has been adjected to constant critics lost confidence. This show is how the teacher communicate can impact the student's performance and well-being. In the summary for all of these articles, the all article point is potential to affect the feedback and the types of praise, or the lack thereof to help more student motivation, mindset, learn outcome. Those provide way to understand and implement those strategies and get a better teacher training. And the awareness of the cultural difference are needed to explore those strategies successfully. That's all from me. Thank you.
So we have 4 suggestions of our main theme. So first of all, we have be authentic and specific of the praise, which is instead of using good jobs or good work, lecturers or teachers can use you have a good side in this kind of job, like in this kind of research when students doing something, because it help for them to increase their self-esteem on doing something, on to improve their self. So next we have focus on effort and improvement, which is instead of focusing on what they are lacking, try to achieve what they improve on doing something. For example, I will give when the student used to have the bad handwriting. So instead of criticism or giving a bad energy to them, try to give a compliments like, oh, it's a nice thing to if you try harder to improvise your handwriting. So when students have achieved that kind of compliments, they will promise themselves like, oh, I will improve my handwriting. So in the next time, if students have improved the handwriting, so also more teachers can use or lecturers can use, oh, I have seen like you have improved your handwriting. So in this kind of situation, it shows that praising helps the self-esteem of the student. So, next, third, we have balanced public and private praise. So basically I like when more lecturers or more teachers and more vocalized or more verbally shows like on praising publicly, but sometimes like some students hates to be praised publicly because of the attention. They don't like the attention. So what lecturers can do when they have this kind of student is try to approach them privately and try to giving a private praise for them. So lastly, we have encourage self-reflection and ownership, which is encourage students on what they are good at it instead of asking them on what they are on.
So, for conclusion, praise focus on effort and strategy help develop grow mindsets, boosting motivation and persistence. Such praise encourage students to see intelligence as something that can improve, leading to better learning and outcome. It supports student autonomy by promoting self-driven engagement and build a strong resilient sense of competence. Last but not least, teacher needs to use praise carefully to nurture healthy motivation and constructive learning behavior by using effective praise, and it should be specific and efforts best to positively shape attitude and thought patterns. That's all for us. Thank you.